Welcome back to the exciting book of Genesis. Hallelujah. For those of you all that's visiting, some things may be a little confusing. I encourage you to go back and check out some of the previous lessons to see where some of the symbolism stemmed from. But that being said, we're going to jump right in. Today we're on chapter 31. And it speaks to the story of Yaakov leaving the house of Laban. And in all actuality, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, it's an elucidation of the end time prophecies. What I'm going to do today is just scratch the surface of what's here. There's so much here, in the story of Laban and Yaakov, and Yaakov leaving the house of Laban, But know that it is actually a picture, a more detailed picture of the end time prophecies. Okay, the characters are as follows. We have some of, artists within chapter 31. We see flocks and household, Jacob and Laban, and so on and so forth. But this is what Yah showed me, how it speaks to us now today, and it yet still has an implication in relation to end time prophecies, but as far as the people or nations involved, this is kind of what he showed me, and this is not an exact, but it's to give you a general idea, okay? Laban, ultimately speaks to Zionism, and Yaakov speaks to Christianity in the house of Yahudah. We went over how Esau typified Christianity. They gave birth to two sons, one rough, one smooth. Another way of saying one violent, one non-violent. There was a time when Yaakov, the non-violent one, actually looked like Esau because he was trying to trick his dad to get the blessing, and so, but essentially one is rough and one is smooth. These are the two natures. One is a hunter, so he makes his living by killing and by ensnaring and trapping, so he ensnares and traps his victims, and kills and eats, whereas Yaakov, by trade, he's a shepherd, and he makes his living, off of the flock that freely gives him of their milk and their wool and so on and so forth. So you see two totally different characters involved, and both of them represents the children of Christianity. Okay, now, of course, the story of Yaakov, where we are, speaks to him going to retrieve a bride, from his mother's household. And we spoke to his mother's household, speaking to the house of Yahudah. Hence, we equate Laban with Zionism. And over there, he gets a little more than what he bargained for. Instead of one wife, he gets two. He was kind of tricked into getting the second one, but, all said and done, he has two wives, one Leah, one Rachel. And we know Rachel is the one that he loved and the one that he always wanted, okay? And so we went through how the children came about, okay? And so just spiritually speaking, Leah's children can speak to the Arab Christians that's over in the house of Yahuda. That's over in the house of Yahuda at this time, you know. And Zilpah can speak to the Syrian Christians that's over in the house of Yahuda. Rachel, the Palestinian Christians. Bilhah, the Lebanese Christians. These are the primary people of the land. You know, and their children, Leah's children, you know, there's actually 10 sons, 10 churches that are recognized under Israel's confessional system for the self-regulation of status, you know, to do things like marriage and divorce, so on and so forth, okay? And these are the ones that they recognize, you know, and so hence, you know, they align with being the sons of these people, you know. So Leah's sons will speak to the Russian and the Greek Orthodox Catholic churches. You know, you have the Russian Orthodox Catholic Church, you have the Greek Orthodox Catholic Church, you have the Roman Catholic Church, that's the RCC, you have the Maronite Catholic Church, you have the Anglican Catholic Church, you have the Melkite Catholic Church as well, you know. And Zilpah, her handmaid, speak to the Syrian Christians that's over in the land, and you know, they have the Syriac Catholic Church and the Syriac Orthodox Church. And then you have Rachel speaking to the Palestinian Christians, and her one son at this point can speak to Messianic Judaism. Bilhah, her handmaid, can possibly speak to the Lebanese Christians, and we have the Armenian Orthodox Church and the Armenian Catholic Church. You know, I thought it was just really, really, really profound that it just so happened to be 10 recognized churches of Israel now today. You know, now there's a new one that they have not recognized but have been growing very rapidly, and that's Messianic Judaism. You know, so much so that they did a report on it, you know, in the news, you know, a few years ago. Okay, and so because this is would be considered kind of like the newest edition, if you would, you know, I view that as Rachel's son. All right, so this is just, you know, a rough, really rough, you know, guideline as to, you know, what these things could represent today. But the story, you know, and it just helps us put some things, you know, identify some things in the story, you know. But scripturally speaking, you know, no matter how you view, you know, Leah and her sons, you know, this story definitely speaks to the end time prophecies. Okay, let me have my first reader read Genesis 31, 1 through 8.
And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten all this glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. And Yahuwah said unto Jacob, Return unto the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me as before, but the Elohim of my father hath been with me. And ye know that with all my power I have served your father. And your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times. But Elohim suffered him not to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckled. And if he said thus, the ring-straked shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ring-straked.
Okay, now you'll notice this symbol, which is the Aleph Tav. Some folks may not be familiar with the Aleph Tav. The Aleph Tav for occurs like thousands of times in Scripture, and it's translated a number of different ways. For the translators didn't totally understand what to do with it, and so as a result, its translated is in various forms, and oftentimes it goes untranslated at all, and they never really knew what to do with it, per se, until the Messiah, and the Messiah taught us that he is the Aleph and the Tav, Alpha and Omega in the Greek, and knowing that he is the Aleph Tav, now we can look and see, what's been hidden in Scripture for so long, like when you read your regular Bibles, you won't see, all the numerous times that this Aleph Tav occurs. Actually, many of the times that's in this chapter, and this, I can't, recall another chapter that has as many Aleph Tavs in it as this chapter. And I know this is a long chapter, but it really does have the Aleph Tavs all the way throughout, and, what I've come to understand the Aleph Tav representing is Yahshua, because Yahshua kind of told us, I'm the Aleph and the Tav, so here it is, we see, it speaks, and verse 1 says, and he heard the words of Laban's sons, and so here it is, this is foretelling of a time when the people of the lands, will begin to look at the Christians in a different manner. Okay? It says, Yaakov have taken away all that was our fathers. So it seems to speak of a time when, the Christians that's in the land will prosper, and we can already see that happening, the most educated people in the land are the Christians, in our actuality. And so here it is, it says, Yaakov have taken away all that was our fathers, and of that which is our fathers have he gotten, all his glory, and we have an Aleph Tav there, so it kind of points to he had gotten all Yahshua's glory, okay? And then verse 2 we have, and Yaakov beheld and the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. Okay, so here it is, some things are changing over in the land, and Laban and his sons, starting looking, a little sideways at the Christians over there, and Yaakov he peeps it. He's saying, okay, I see something not the same, something not the same as it was, and so he takes note of it, and verse 3 it says, and Yahuwah said unto Yaakov, return unto the land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. So this foretells of a time when the Christians that's over in the house of Yahudah will actually return to the land of their fathers. They're going to be hightailing it up out of there. And Yah is going to be with them in doing so. And it says, and Yaakov sent and called Rachel and Leah, and he's calling Rachel and Leah. Rachel means you, or a lamb, female lamb, and Leah speaks to the weary. Her name means weary. So you see here that Yaakov is calling the weary lambs to the field unto his flock. Okay? And in verse 5 it says, and I see Aleph Tav, your father's countenance, that is not toward me as before. So it kind of speaks to Yahshua showing him that their fathers or the house of Yahudah's countenance has changed towards them. You know, and if you don't know the history of the Christians over in Israel, you know, it's kind of a shaky relationship to begin with. You know, and verse 5, you know, but Elohim of my father have been with me, and ye know that with all my power I have served your father. You know, so again we see the Aleph Tav, you know, so it's denoting that, you know, Yah was helping him and serving over there. You know, Yah was with him all the time. And it speaks of your father. It speaks of the father. It says, I have served your father, and he's changed my wages 10 times. You know, and so here it is. We see a picture of the Christians not being treated fairly. You know, and that's actually going on now as well. You know, and it says, but Elohim suffered him not to hurt me. So Yah's watching over his people over there, and he's not gonna let them hurt them. And if he said, you know, this is gonna be your wages, you know, then all the cattle bear one way, and if he said that it was the other way, then Yah made it the other way. So yeah, this is just a picture of Yah giving them favor. They have favor with Yah. All right, let me have my next reader read verses 9 through 12.
Thus Elohim hath taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. And it came to pass at that time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up mine eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-straight, speckled, and grizzled. And the angel of Elohim spake unto me in the dream, saying, Yaakov. And I said, here am I. And he said, lift up now thine eyes, and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straight, speckled, and grizzled. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee.
Okay, so hereby we see a picture that, you know, Yah is watching over his Christians over there in the land, you know, and, you know, he's gonna take away their wealth and give it to the Christians. I don't know, you know, how familiar you guys are with, you know, with the Yahudim and their wealth, but they have quite a bit of wealth, you know. And, you know, if this was to happen, I could see, you know, them looking at the Christians, you know, real foul like, you know what I mean? You know, but, you know, this is what the story is telling us, you know, and it says, because Yah is watching over them, and he sees the injustices that are being perpetrated towards them, you know. And I was just reading up on the situation, and, you know, and they were, you know, they are taunted, you know, oftentimes, you know, and the authorities kind of, you know, just turn the other way, you know. And so, you know, again, you see these things actually taking place in the land, you know, even as we speak, even today. Genesis 31:13 says, I am the Elohim of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vows a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out from this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. So here it is, you know, we see a prophetic picture that the Christians in the land is going to come to a point to where the relations are going to get so bad that, you know, Yah is going to put on their heart to leave, you know, and he's going to be with them, you know. And, you know, it's interesting because Yaakov, when he was heading to the land, you know, he received a promise of Elohim, and, you know, and Elohim told him these things that he was going to do for him, you know. And Yaakov, you know, he, you know, I loved his answer, you know, but it's found in Genesis 28:12-15. It says, and he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven, and behold, the angels of Elohim ascending and descending on it. And behold, Yahuwah stood above it and said, I am Yahuwah, Elohim of Abraham, thy father, and Elohim of Yitzhak. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee, and in thy seed, shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee. You know, now, this is Yah speaking to Yaakov, but Yaakov, he decided, okay, well, if that's the case, you know, I'm going to vow a vow. And then verses 20 and 21, it says, and Yaakov vowed a vow, saying, if Elohim will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall Yahuwah be my Elohim. You know, so, you know, hallelujah, you know, Yaakov, you know, he's saying, you know, okay, I hear you, you know, but after you do all that, after you bring me back, you know, then you'll be my Elohim. You know, so Yah's kind of on the hook here, you know. He's kind of on the hook to bring him back, you know, safe and sound. And so this is what we see here in chapter 31. You know, Yah is making good on his word.
Yeah.
Let me have my next reader read verses 14 through 20.
And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not counted of him strangers? For he hath sold us and hath quite devoured also our money. For all the riches which Elohim hath taken from our father, that is ours and our children's. Now then, whatsoever Elohim hath said unto thee, do. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels. And he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten. The cattle of his getting, which he had gotten in Padan Aram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, and that he told him not that he fled.
Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. You know, you know, when I was first looking at this, I was like, yeah, I don't get it. You know, this is not, you know, it didn't quite gel with me. You know, but here it is. We see here in verse 14. It says, and Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him. So now, remember, Rachel and Leah represents the weary sheep, you know, or the sheep that are weary. You know, and it says, is there, and of course, that's married to Christianity, of course, you know, or the children of Christianity. And is there any portion or inheritance for us in our Father's house? So this teaches us that, you know, the Christians there are going to get to the point to where they are not going to feel that they have anything, you know, in the land to stay there for. You know, and even because what verse 15 teaches us, are we not counted of him as strangers? So they're going to get to a point to where they're going to feel like, you know, like they're strangers in the land. You know, and so, you know, they're going to decide to, you know, okay, let's get up out of here. You know, and so we see Yaakov rising up, and he's setting his sons and his wives upon camels. You know, and we spoke about how the camels are the survivors of the wilderness. You know, so he put his wives upon the camels, you know, and he carried away all his cattle and all his goods. You know, and it says, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. Okay, so here it is. We see he's going back to his father. Now spiritually speaking, you know, that has a really profound meaning, because, you know, the fathers are in the land in which he came from, you know, and so, you know, it speaks to the house of Israel, which is scattered all over the earth. So, you know, they're going back to wherever they came from, you know, and here it is in verse 19, you know, it says, and Laban went to shear his sheep, you know. Okay, so now Laban is shearing his sheep, and, you know, this speaks to him cutting off his sheep. And it says, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's, but take note that there's an olive tav there. You know, and that's, you know, I found that to be particularly interesting, because I'm like, are they Yeshua's images? You know, because the Aleph Tav is there. You know, and spiritually speaking, they are in fact Yeshua's images. You know, now when you look at the word images, it's translated from the word teraphim. Okay, and it's number 8655 in the Hebrew, and it speaks to healers. You know, it doesn't actually mean an idol. It's translated as image. You know, by implication, it literally means healers. And so here it is. We see the lamb had stolen the healers that were her father's. Okay, now when we go to verse 20, it says, and Yaakov stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian. And now, again, after stole, we see an Aleph Tav. You know, so here it is. It seemed to be saying, and Yeshua, you know, helped them steal away unawares to Laban the Syrian, and that he told him not that he fled. Now, when we look at these, the Hebrew word for stole and stolen is actually the same word. It's ganab in the Hebrew, number 1589, and it means to thieve or to deceive. You know, so we see a picture here of Yaakov deceiving away unawares. Okay, now, this word unawares is lab or lebe, you know, which actually is the Hebrew word for heart. You know, so within this, we see a spiritual picture of Christianity, you know, of Yah helping the children of Christianity deceive the heart of Laban the Syrian. Now, Laban's name means white, you know, and represents righteousness. So Laban represents one that appears to be righteous. You know, but he isn't. You know, he appears to be, but he isn't. You know, and it's kind of, he speaks to the same type of Pharisaical Yahudim that the Messiah faced when he was on the earth, which he said they were like whitish sepulchres, you know, that looked good on the outside, but inside was full of dead men's bones. Okay, now here it is. We see a spiritual picture of the children of Christianity. They deceiving the hearts of the Syrians and fleeing, you know, from the land. Okay. Now, what I wanted to point out is here it is, where it speaks about Rachel actually deceiving, or Rachel stealing the images, you know, and Rachel stealing the images is actually a spiritual picture of the lambs that have the healing, or the power to heal. And it's actually seeing that she's married to Yaakov, which is the children of Christianity. All we're seeing here is the lambs who have the power to heal in all actuality. And it's a beautiful picture of the end times in the ecclesia that will receive the signs of the believers. You know, when we look at the signs of the believers in Mark 16, 15 through 20, it says, and he said unto them, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned. And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. If they drink any deadly thing, it will not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. So then, after the Adonai had spoken unto them, he was received up into heaven and sat on the right hand of Elohim. And they went forth and preached everywhere, the Adonai working with them and confirming the word with signs following. You know, and this is, spiritually speaking, this is a picture of Rachel having the healers that were her fathers. You know, they were her fathers in the sense that they became converts over into Christianity. So they may have once being Yahudim, you know, but then they converted over to Christianity. And so here it is, we see a picture of some of the Yahudim converting into Christianity. Okay, now Genesis 31, 21 through 23 goes on to say, so he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban on the third day that Yaakov was fled. And he took his brethren with him and pursued after him in 7 days' journey, and they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. Now, we see in Aleph Tav in verse 21, you know, speaking that to the river being Yeshua's. Now, this river speaks to the river Euphrates. Now, remember, we're aligning this with the end time prophecies, and so far we have Rachel. She has the healers, you know, that was of her fathers, right? You know, and so it says they passed over the river. You know, this river is Euphrates. Euphrates, you know, means that which makes fruitful. So you see a picture of the Christians that's becoming fruitful. You know, and we all know the fruit of the Spirit, right? Mm-hmm. You know, so this is a picture of in the end times, the Christians actually becoming fruitful. They actually, you know, Yah's actually showing forth the signs of the believers in them once again, you know, and attesting to it with the miracle signs and wonders. Okay, and it says, and it was told Laban on the third day, and, you know, that has some pretty significant semblance as well, but I'm not going to go there at this time. And it says that he took his brethren, which actually speaks to Yeshua's brethren. You know, even those same brethren that was likened unto those same brethren that was around when he was on the earth that crucified him. You know, and it says they pursued after him 7 days' journey. You know, and, you know, I don't have to speak about, you know, how many times the number 7 come up in the end time prophecies. You know, but it says they overtook him in Mount Gilead. Now, Mount Gilead, you know, is number 1568 in the Hebrew, and it speaks to a heap of testimony. You know, mountains in Scripture speaks to nations or kingdoms. And so here it is, we see he make it to a nation or a kingdom, you know, of testimony. That's, or noted for for their testimony. You know, most likely to that of the Most High, or to Yahshua. Okay, now here it is. So far, we see that with Yaakov, we see that they made fruitful. We see healers amongst them, you know, and we see them slipping off and fleeing out of the land. And just to speak to mountains, speaking to kingdoms, we have Daniel 2:44 and 45. It says, and in the days of these kings shall the Elohim of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron and the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold. The great Elohim hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. You know, and in all actuality, you know, what we're seeing here is a spiritual picture of this very same thing. You know, those things that's with Rachel, in all actuality, you know, speaks to this stone that will be cut out of the mountain without hands. You know, let me have my next reader read Genesis 31, 24 through 28.
And Elohim came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, take heed that thou speak not to Jacob, either good or bad. Genesis. Then Laban overtook Yaakov, and Yaakov had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mount of Gilead. And Laban said unto Yaakov, what hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives, taken with the sword? Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly, and steal away from me? And didst not tell me that I might have sent, that I might have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, with tabret, and with harp, and has now, and has not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters? Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing.
Okay, and this is just simply a picture, Laban's on his way. He's perturbed. He come home and he find, everybody gone. And he like, oh no, they didn't. And so he's on their tails, and in the midst of Elohim intercedes. And this is just a picture of, how they're going to be persecuting the Christians. They're going to be persecuting the Christians. They're going to be after them, and pay particular attention to, who they're after, who Laban is after, and because that's huge, and so here it is in verse 24. Is we see Yah intervening, and telling them don't say nothing good or bad, and so Laban actually, overtakes Yaakov, and both of them, and they overtake them in this Mount Gilead, or this place where all the witnesses are, all the witnesses that testify to the Most High, whatever nation or kingdom this is, this is where they meet up at, okay? And we see, it says that Laban overtook Yaakov, and we see the Alatai, speaking to Yahushua's Yaakov, and says that Yaakov had pitched his tent, he pitched Yahushua's tent, and says to Laban, Yaakov, what hast thou done? Thou hast stolen unawares. Again, this word, the stolen unaware, speak to the deceiving of the heart. The unawares is lab or labe, and the stolen speaks to the deception. So it speaks to Yahshua helping Yaakov, deceive the heart of Laban. And said, carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword. Okay, now it's talking about the daughters of the house of Yahudah, and it says that he took them as captives taken with the sword. Now, we know the sword typifies what? The word of Elohim. So here it is. This is just simply a picture of the Christians that's converting, many of the Yahudim, over there. And they're getting them out of there. Now, and he's asking, why did you sneak off like you did, still away from him. It goes on in verse 29 to 32. It says, it is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. So we clearly see here that, when this transpires, the house of Yahudah is going to be they're going to be much stronger than the children of Christianity. And they outnumber the Christians over there, like, Christians make up 2% of the population. Let me put it like that. So they are very, very much stronger than them. And he says, it's in the power of my hand to do you hurt, but the Elohim of your father spake unto me yesterday. So again, we see Yah stepping in and preventing, the Christians from being annihilated. In verse 30, it says, and now, though thou wouldest needs to be gone, because thou sore longest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? Now, it's not calling them images here. Can you see that? Yeah. They called them images at first, but it's not calling them images now. And then we have an Alatai. So it's not his gods, it's actually Yahushua's gods. And this is just a picture of the sons of God, that will be on the earth during that time. And they will be Yahushua's sons of God, in which the whole earth groan and travail for, which is yet to come. And so here it is, we see a picture of these guys, and God is Elohim, it just simply means ruler or judge. So we see a picture of the rulers and judges, you know, that's hidden in Christianity, in the children of Christianity. You know, and these are the ones that Laban is after. Can you see that? You know, they're actually, that's what all the fuss is about, you know, supposedly. You know, I want my gods. You know, I want the gods. Those are the ones. And that's who they're going to be after. They're going to be after the rulers and the judges of Christianity, the leaders, the ones who have the healing power, the ones who are bearing fruit, and the ones in whom the miracle signs and wonders are bearing witness to their word. These are the ones that they're going to be trying to get. You know, and we see in verse 31 of Genesis 31, it says, and Yaakov answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid, for I said, peradventure thou wouldest take by force thy daughters from me, or Yahushua's daughters. With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, or Yahushua's gods, let him not live. You know, he's speaking a curse. Can you see he's speaking a curse over his very own people? It says, before our brethren discern thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee, for Yaakov knew not that Rachel had stolen it. So his beloved Rachel is the one that's going to have the healers. His beloved Rachel are going to be the one that's going to be hiding the judges and the rulers of Christianity. Even those very same ones that will one day rule and reign with Yahushua. Okay, now it says, for whomsoever thou findest, this word findest is matzah in the Hebrew, number 4672, and it means to come forth or appear or exist. So, you know, what's being said here is that Yaakov, or the children of Christianity, is saying, you know, whoever appears or whoever come forth or whoever exists that have the rulers and the judges, let him not live. That have the healer, the healing power, let him not live. Can you see that they're going to be, you know, the enemy is going to be trying to kill off the rulers and the judges of the Most High, you know, that represent Yahushua. You know, and this is what we're being shown here. It says, for Yaakov knew not Rachel had stolen them. Okay, now, but we see by all these alatas is that Yah is actually, you know, working this evil out for good. You know, that he's with everything that's going on here. Okay, Genesis 31:33, it says, and Laban went into Yaakov's tent and went into Leah's tent and into the two maidservants' tents, and he found them not. Then went he out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Okay, so now he's up in Rachel's tent. All right. And verse 34 says, and now Rachel had taken the images. Now here it is. It refers to them as images again. You know, and put them in the camel's furniture and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. Okay, and so here it is. We see again the Aleph Tav accompanying the images, speaking to that they're Yahshua's images. And Laban's searching, you know, Yahshua's tent, you know, because here it is. The Aleph Tav is with the tent of Rachel. But take note that when it refers to all the other tents when he was searching, the Aleph Tav don't appear. Okay, now this word furniture is actually kar in the Hebrew, number 5733, and it speaks to a lamb or a ram as full grown and fat. You know, what did they do with the full grown and fatted lambs? They slaughtered them, absolutely. You know, and that's exactly what's going on in this picture. You know, those rulers and judges are being sacrificed. You know, they're presenting their bodies as living sacrifices, holy and acceptable to the Most High. You know, these would be some of the very same ones that will be found, you know, under the the altar that we read about in Revelation, saying, how long before you take vengeance upon us? You know, now the word set here is yashab, number 3427, meaning to sit down specifically as judge, or specifically in ambush or in quiet. And it speaks to dwelling or remaining. You know, I thought that was really interesting that it specifically speaks to sit as a judge. You know, and so here it is, we have a picture of Rachel being, she putting them in the full grown. These are the fully mature Christians here. You know, and she's sitting on them, you know, speaking to, you know, her judging amongst them, or dwelling and remaining with them. And it says that Laban searched all Yahshua's tent, you know, and this word searched is mashah, which means to feel of or grow. You know, and so this is a beautiful picture of the end times when Yahshua's people will be searched out. You know, those who are full grown and fat, those who have the healing capability, who the miracle signs and wonders are bearing witness to their words, those who are as Elohim, they are judges and rulers within the body of Yahshua. Okay, then we have verses 35 through 37. My next reader, please. Yes. No, you can start with 35.
And she said to her father, let it not displease my Adonai that I cannot raise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not blemishes. And Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin, that thou hast so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, what hast thou found of all thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt both us both.
Okay, so here it is. We see them not finding all the judges and rulers. They're not finding the judges and the rulers, you know, and we see it says Yaakov was wroth and chode with Laban. So, you know, Yaakov is going to fight back, you know, and so he's going to, you know, get some things off of his chest, you know, and he said, you searched all my tent, you know, or all Yahshua's stuff, and you haven't found them, you know, and the reason being is because, you know, Yah is going to be helping to hide them. Now, if you know the end time prophecies, you know that, you know, all of them won't be killed, but some of them will, you know. Now, let me have my next reader read verses 38 through 42, please.
This 20 years have I been with thee. Thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee. I bear the loss of it, and of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was in the day, the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus have I been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. Except the Elohim of my father, the Elohim of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hadst sent me away now empty. Elohim hath seen mine affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight.
Hallelujah. Okay, so here it is. We see that it was 20 years. You know, it was after 20 years that Yaakov decided to leave. And I forgot to put the passage in here, you know, but in the Brit Hadashah, or the New Testament, we have a passage that speaks on that Yahshua is teaching his disciples and saying, you know, when this, that, and the other began to happen, i.e. the end time, the signs of the end time prophecies began to happen, then ye know that your Redeemer draweth nigh. You know, and so this is just further confirmation that is speaking to the end times, you know, the time when redemption, you know, for the children of Christianity, you know, is upon us. You know, and this is when they will be leaving out, the redemption will be taking place, you know, and it speaks of him having served Laban and the injustices that he persevered through, you know, how he served for 14 years for his 2 daughters. The number 14 speaks to salvation, you know, so he served for salvation, and he served for 6 years for the cattle. And six is the number of man and the number of man's works, you know. And during this time, this 6 years, he changed his wages 10 times. You know, the number 10 speaks to Torah or the law, or law and responsibility. And so here it is, we see a picture of them, you know, changing the laws of Elohim. You know, and so spiritually speaking, you know, we those of us that's in Christianity, we do serve, you know, we receive salvation, and we serve that we might have works, and the only thing that we can take with us are our works in our actuality, and that's the very thing that we're going to be judged by, is our works. You know, and so here it is, we see time is, you know, is at hand, you know, when all this is taking place. You know, and verse 42, Yaakov says, except the Elohim of my father and the Elohim of Abraham, the fear of Esau had been with me, surely thou hadst sent me away now empty. And I thought this was particularly interesting, you know, where it speaks about the fear of Esau, because this term, if you would, the fear of Esau, only occurs twice in Scripture, and they're both in this chapter. You know, and of course, the fear of Esau is Yahshua, you know, spiritually speaking. You know, and it says, and Elohim have seen mine affliction, you know, or Yahushua's affliction. And he's going to stand in, he's going to be in the gap, he's going to help his people, of course. Let me have my next reader read verses 43 through 47.
And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou seest is mine. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children, which they have borne? Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. And Yaakov took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Yaakov said unto his brethren, gather stones, and they took stones, and made an heap. And they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it
Sadutha. Yeah, that's my homeboy.
But Yaakov called it Galilee.
Hallelujah. All right. So here it is. We see Yaakov, Laban answering and saying unto Yaakov, these daughters are my daughters, these children, all this stuff mine, man. You know, and you know, in the manner of speaking, because they would all be native to the land, you know, they were, you know, but they married Yaakov. They married Christianity, you know, and so because of the mistreatment, they're getting up out of there. And so, you know, they're hightailing it up out of there. And it says, and then Yaakov took a stone and set it up for a pillar. Now, we know who that stone is, right? Yeah. You know, we know that stone represents our Messiah, Yahushua. You know, and Yaakov said unto his brethren, gather stones. And these are the ones that's, you know, those rulers, those judges, those ones that are steadfast, you know, in the faith, those ones that that really walked this thing out, you know, and made a heap, and they did eat there upon the heap, and you know, food speaks to teachings and instructions. So this is a picture of, you know, those leaders of Christianity teaching the other people, and even teaching the house of Yahuda. Now, it says Laban called it Yergasahadutha, and Yaakov called it Galid. And they actually both mean the same things, you know, or very similar. You know, the prior speaks to gathering of witnesses, and Galid, the latter, speaks to waves or heaps of witnesses. You know, now, of course, all the witnesses speak to those who are testifying and witnessing to the Most High. And then we have verses 48 through 55. My next reader, please.
And Laban said, "This heap is a witness between me and thee this day." Therefore was the name of it called Galid. And Mitzpah, for he said, "Yahuwah, watch between me and thee, when we are absent one from another. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives besides my daughters, no man is with us. See, Elohim is witness betwixt me and thee." And Laban said to Yaakov, "Behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast betwixt me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and that thou shalt not pass over the heap and this pillar unto me for harm. The Elohim of Abraham and the Elohim of Nahor, and the Elohim of their father judge betwixt us." And Yaakov sware by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Yaakov offered sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning Laban rose up, and kissed his sons and his daughters, and blessed them. And Laban departed, and returned unto his place.
Hallelujah. All right, so here it is. Here it is. We see that they make a covenant, you know, and so they bring peace, you know. So this teaches us that even when the Christians do leave out of the house of Yahuwah, and you know, they're gonna make peace, you know, before long. Things gonna get pretty hairy and scary, you know, for a while, you know. But Yah is not gonna suffer the Christians to be harmed, you know. And so this is yet just another thing, you know, that we can keep our eye on, you know, concerning the end times, you know. And you know, here it is again. We see the Alatai speaking to, you know, Yahshua's heap, or his witnesses, and his daughters, you know, and Yaakov swearing by the fear of Yitzhak, you know, again speaking to Yahshua, you know. And this is just it's a beautiful picture of the end times. I wish I, you know, really had time to really go into it and elucidate it even more and show more of the symbolism, you know, in conjunction to the end time prophecies, you know. But you know, I had to choose one, and this is the one y'all put on my heart. So here it is. That's all I have for you for today. Pray it was a blessing unto you. And this time we're taking